Yes, thank you so much for joining me, Sister Aziza, Sister Idaya. Thank you so much. Yes, we are live again today. And our topic for today is parenting pressure that causes you stress and how to deal with them. Last week, we spoke a little bit about parenting pressure, but we didn't go deep into it, right? And we spoke about, different ways which we can avoid burnout, right? Thank you so much for joining me. I am Marifa Omolola Otolurian. We'll be talking about parenting pressures that causes you stress and how to deal with them. Please, before we go on, kindly confirm to me. I need to know if you can hear me and if you can see me before I go on. I would like you to share with me if you can hear me and if you can see me. If you can do that, please try as much as possible to invite other parents to this platform. Let them also come and learn from this session today. If you are not on the discussion room, please join so that we can have an interactive session, right? So, like I said, share this session with somebody, right? So we'll go right into it without wasting more time, right? So today, like I said, we're talking about parenting pressures of our time that causes you stress and how to deal with them. We all know that today's parenting comes with lots of challenges and pressure. This is not something that is new. And that is why we try as much as possible to share this with people every time, to let them know how exactly to do these things. Because like I always say that we can't use the templates that was given to us and expect to succeed on this journey. Because it's a different time, it's a different era. Right. So it comes with a lot of challenges that eventually stresses us out if we are not intentional. Intentionality is the key word here, right? Topics ranging to family life, ranging to work-life balance, the complexities of technology, the short reels on social media, and the likes of it is something that we constantly need to think about, is something that we constantly need to deal with when it comes to raising our children, because we can't leave all of these things outside of it. They are important because we were raised by parents who didn't really have all of these challenges, right? So that's why I said that we cannot use that template. We can't use it for our own, children. Right. So what are these pressures? I'm going to be talking about the pressure. And as I talk about the pressures, I'm going to also be talking about how we can actually deal with it as parents. So it's a two-way thing. It's not just about us talking about, the problem. And of course, that Coach Lola will not just give you the problem and not talk about the solution. We don't do that here, right? We talk about the way out of all of these things. Right. So the first pressure that I'm going to talk about, we spoke about it simply last week, but then we didn't go deep down into it. The first one is the pressure to be perfect. Who is going to write for us today? I would appreciate if someone can help us put that in the comment section. And by the way, I've not even heard from people if they can hear me or not. I hope I am not just speaking to myself. Please, I need to confirm that you can hear me before I go on. Kindly share with me. Let me know that you are with me and let me know that I can be. Yes, you can hear me. Thank you so much. The first pressure that we're going to be talking about is the pressure to be perfect. Thank you so much. The pressure to be perfect. This is something that, it's everywhere, right? The overwhelming expectation to be a perfect parent and to raise children who are also perfect. This is something that we have today. And one of those things that contributes to this is the fact that we see a lot of things. We see a lot of things on social media, on the media. We get to see a lot of things, right? So there's an expectation of what you need to do, how you need to do it, what your children must be able to have, what they should not have, and all of those things. We have that mentality of everything should be perfect. I spoke about our environment last week, that once you are raising children, you need to know that you can't have a perfect environment. Even before you started having children, you don't have a perfect environment. But then that expectation is just there that, okay, yes, we need to have a perfect environment. Everything must be tidy. Everything must be, like that. No, it is not something that is possible, right? So that idea to be perfect, looking a certain way, the need to have a flawless environment, the need for your child to be that perfect child, the need for your child to excel in all area of life, even with the limited, years that they have spent in their life, right? that need is not something that is possible. So because of the fact that we feel that this is something we want to get, we overschedule our children, we expect so much from them that eventually leads to stress. You are going to be stressed. Your children are going to also be stressed. That's one thing we need to know. Once we are in that space whereby we want everything to be perfect, quote and unquote, you will be stressed, you will burn out. And that feeling of inadequacy due to that unrealistic expectation that we set on them, it's definitely going to be there, right? So one of the things that we do on our journey or on that way of making everything perfect, we might see it as, we say things like, nobody's perfect. But then we act the other way around. So the moment your child fails or the moment your child makes mistakes, you are everywhere. You see failure, you see mistake, you see it as a taboo. And despite the fact that you yourself, it is what you know. As Muslims, we say things like, only Allah is perfect. But then when it comes to our children making mistakes, we find ourselves in a place whereby we can't accept it. We can't deal with it without being everywhere. So we make failure look like a taboo. We make it look, we stress so much on it. It is so devastating to us. Then we now come back and say that no one is perfect. We ourselves, we know that we are not perfect, but then the expectations that we place on our children is giving that mentality of you have to be perfect. And that's why, like I said, we're always going to be everywhere whenever a child makes mistake, no matter how big the mistake is. We need to know that the brain of our children is still learning. And if you don't begin to accept that, you will definitely be in that space whereby you constantly be stressed because your children are learning, and from their learning, they will definitely make mistakes. Right? So the moment some group of people start complaining about our child, have you been in a situation whereby your child has done something and you're around some people and they start telling you something like, it can't be my child. I would have beaten the hell out of her. It can't just be my child. Have we been in those spaces before? This is some people's reality. They be in that space whereby they now start being judged. It can never be. And because we want to show that we are in control, because we want to show that, yes, I am the mother here and it is what I say, or, we just want to show off. That's what I say. That's what I call it. Right? We now be in that space whereby we're also shouting, haven't I told you to do this? We're everywhere. We're embarrassing ourselves. We're embarrassing our children, and everything is just, it's just scattered. So that space, maybe your child is not behaving in a particular way, or there's a particular attitude, we start feeling the pressure due to our thought of not being adequate, sorry. So we see ourselves at, I'm not doing well. Am I really doing well? Because we have that mentality. It's not our fault, of course, because that's how we were raised. We were raised to believe that mistakes are, mistakes is not something that is good. We were raised to believe that infallibility narrative. And that's why a lot of the time we've heard something like our parents will always tell us, when I was in school, I was always the first position. I was between first to third. I was this, I was that, giving us that vibe. So we have now seen mistake as something that shouldn't be made, something that is a taboo, something that, we shouldn't even move towards to. So we then find ourselves doing the things that we shouldn't do because of what people will say. A lot of the time, I've said it on this platform that if you're in that space whereby you keep saying something like, what would people say? What would people say? At the end of the day, what people will say is, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Yes, that's the truth. At the end, that's what people will say. Right? So you should take away that mentality of being perfect, because the more you put yourself in that space, the more you put yourself in a space whereby your children make mistakes or they fail and you're everywhere, you're definitely going to be stressed. So it's a pressure that you're not seeing, but it is there. So if you're not intentional with not enough about it, you will definitely be stressed whenever your child spill milk, spill water, do something in a wrong way. You will always be stressed. So you want to, first of all, take that thing away from you. Fortunately for us, it is something we already know. It is something we say every day. No one is ever perfect. We just have people who are more intentional with getting knowledge and making it right as they journey on. And that's why it looks like some people are perfect. When it comes to everything, parenting, our work life, doing a business, everything at all, even when it comes to our religion, it is not about being perfect. We just have people who are more intentional, who are more, putting their mind into whatever it is that they are doing. And we have some people who are not intentional about it. And that's why it always looks like, this person is perfect. It looks like, this person is always, showing up. This person is always doing this. No one is perfect. We just have people who are more intentional about the things that matter to them. So that idea of perfectionism is something that has been around for a very long time. Like I said, it is not something that is new. It was it was part of the templates that was given to us. Right? This was something our parents, they projected, they expected it from us. Right? And this is, what it did is that it breeded a different kind of negative character in us. Right? It breeded that negative character. If you have parents who all that they talk about is that, you make so much of mistakes, you do this, you do that. What happens? That child starts to hide mistakes from you. They start to be hypocritical about things. Things they do, they will tell you they didn't do it. And that's why I said it starts to breed a negative character in our children, like it did for us, if we can think deeply about it. So if you have a parent who will tell you that, okay, yes, I know that you made a mistake. However, you need to be more careful. Maybe there are some things. What do you think we need to do to make this better or not to make this mistake again? What have you learned from it? And like that, you can't compare it from a parent who, whenever it is you make mistake, you're always reading cane, you're always shouting, you're always in that. You can't compare it. So that child who has that parent who is always everywhere would definitely start keeping some things. They'll start hiding some things from you. They'll start keeping secrets. Whenever they make mistakes, they don't want you to know. If you want to know, they will lie. Things like that. And that's why I said, you start breathing that things. And once that continues to happen, if there's one bad behavior to one another bad behavior, what happens? You are going to be stressed as a parent. That's when you start saying something like, as we're talking about this, you're doing another thing. You are going to be stressed. So that pressure of perfection is something we need to eliminate from our system of parenting, knowing quite well that it is not just about the result, it's about the process. The result will show off later if we do the right things. So up till adulthood, this is something that has affected us up till adulthood. You start seeing adults who want to be perfect. They have an idea of a business, but they tell you, I'm still putting this in place, and this is not there. They want to reach that place that they can't reach, that place of perfectionism. They have that idea, that fantastic idea. But because they have not been raised to see failure as a part of the process, you will definitely be stressed also, because you will be stressed because you can't attain that perfection. You can't attain it. You can only do better today, do better tomorrow, do better tomorrow, next tomorrow, and you keep going. It is something that has made a lot of us stay in our comfort zone up till now. So we're talking about, how these things happen in childhood and how we take it into adulthood. So one thing that we need to know as we journey on is that we can't be perfect parents. Who is going to help us put that in the comment section? We can't be perfect parents, not even a coach. We can't be perfect parents, and we can't also raise a perfect child. All we can do is to be more intentional and purposeful on our journey. So how do we begin to deal with, this pressure of being perfect, being a perfect parent, or raising a perfect child? The first thing we need to do is that we need to embrace, thank you, sisters, is that we need to embrace the idea that there are no perfect parents or perfect child. First of all, take that. This is something that we already know. We now want to start to live it. There are times that I was thinking about something that I did during the week, and I found out a big mistake that I made. And I was like, oh my God, I was finding it really difficult to forgive myself. And I was thinking this thing might eventually boomerang. But then I went back to that place of no one is perfect. Yes, it was a silly mistake, but yes, it happens. So accepting the fact that I am not perfect, I can definitely make mistakes, is something that will help me also to forgive my children when they err. But if you're in that space where you feel that perfection is the deal, perfection is the goal, you will definitely not even move from where you are, because you won't be able to try new things. You won't be able to overlook the mistakes of your children. So you need to first of all move from that. So instead of pressuring yourself to be perfect, you should be aware that intentionally raising your child isn't about perfection, but about the process of raising your child. It is not about the result. It is about the process that you put into it. It is about the striving that you put into it, because Allah says that man gets whatever it is that he strives for. You know, I was reflecting on that verse of the Quran. Allah didn't say that man gets what he works for. That is to tell you that there will definitely be a striving. There will definitely be a struggle. Man gets what he strives for. He didn't say man gets what he works for. Look at it. So we need to be in that place whereby we know that, yes, we can attain perfection, but then we can always be in that place whereby we're continuing to become better in a bid not to be in that place of stress with our children. We need to accept that. It's about the process, because the result is still something that, you know, you will be seeing it, that little win, you will be seeing it, but then it will show off when that child becomes an adult. That's when you will see that, okay, yes, all that you have put into it is not actually in vain. Right? So, putting yourself in a place whereby you are following through the process is what actually eliminates stress for you. You are not just focusing on the result. You are not just seeing what your child is not doing well. You are seeing that, you know, that little milestone that child is reaching. Because if you focus on the negative, it is what you focus on that grows. Right? What other things do we need to begin to deal with in order for us to eliminate that pressure of being perfect? Is that, you know, we need to be in that space whereby we understand the fact that our children are different. You cannot have Abu Bakr and be parenting Abu Bakr like you're parenting Umar. You cannot have Ali and be parenting Ali like you have a Umar. It's going to be a big mess. You'll be in that place whereby you continue to struggle. So this is why it is necessary for us to parent the child that we have, not the one we wish to have. Who will help us write that? You need to parent the child you have. You can't have Umar and be parenting Abu Bakr. You can't have Abu Bakr and be parenting Umar, because they have two different personalities. And even the Prophet has a way of dealing with both of them. He has a way of talking to both of them. That is why we need to be in that space whereby we understand the children that we are raising. Because if we do not understand them, we'll constantly be in a place whereby we are going to be comparing them. So it is important for us to understand the child that we're raising. What type of child am I raising? What personality does this child have? Not the child you wish you want. The one you have. That is the one you are going to parent. And this is why you need to understand that the child that you are raising, you start, you start brooding. You start worrying because maybe your kinesthetic learner is not sitting still to learn. Maybe your kinesthetic learner is not sitting like your auditory learner is going to learn. He's not finishing his homework. Whenever it is that he's doing his homework, he raises his leg up. He now sits in a way that, you will constantly be in a place whereby you brood. You constantly be in a place whereby you worry, and you will be in that place whereby you are stressed. And that's why you need to understand the child that you are raising. Is your child a kinesthetic learner? Is your child an auditory learner? Is your child a visual learner? If you know these things, you will know what to give to your children part time. You will know whatever it is that your child needs part time. So this is something that is very important. You need to parent the child you have. So you don't constantly be in a place where you're comparing them. Can't you see your other brother? Can't you see your neighbor's brother? Can't you see this? Can't you see that? You constantly be stressing on that if you're focusing on that. So this is where the pressure of perfection comes in, and it subjects us to stress. The moment you start thinking, this is how my child should be, this is the behavior that I want them to have. Yes, if you want them to have that behavior, it's fantastic. Set a goal around it. Make a plan around it. Build system around it. Keep teaching it. Keep teaching it. We should be continuous repeaters. Or is it repeaters? What's the English word right now? We'll continually be in that place where we'll repeat. And that's why I said that if you have not taken your teaching certificate, come, let us induce you into it. Because you constantly teach. As a mother, you will teach. You will teach. You will teach today. You will teach tomorrow. Don't get tired of teaching. So we need to be in that place whereby we commit to the process. A lot of the time, because, I said it that one of those things, I think we'll get there, is that we see so many people, we see so many things online. Yes, a 10 years old is doing this, a 9 years old. You are not seeing their process. You're just seeing their results. And that is what is making you also focus on the results without focusing on the processes. So you can't get there if you do not focus, if you do not pay attention, if you do not do the process. You have to do the process. It's not about hacks. It's not about tricks. I was sharing in, one of my sessions to some group of sisters who invited me. And I was saying that even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this Islam as the religion that he has given to us, he created it based on structures and system. I keep saying it that if you're in that space whereby Allah just said, go and worship me, without telling us that these are the 5 pillars, without telling us that these are the articles of faith, without giving us the Quran, without giving us anything, it's going to be a mess. So talk more. Whatever it is that you want to succeed at, you have to pass it through a system. You have to pass it through a structure. It's not something you can just do and, just do it like that. And that's where the place of striving is. And Allah has promised us that if we strive for it, we'll definitely get it. So if you're constantly complaining about your children's mess, about this, about that, you'll be in that place whereby you continually be in that space whereby you'll be stressed. You'll be stressed. The second pressure is that information overload. Information overload. This is the second pressure that we deal with as parents this time, that our own parents didn't deal with. They didn't deal with it because it was their own time. So now having it, yes, it can be a blessing, it can be a curse, we can have pros, we can have cons. But then the question is, how do we want to take this to our own advantage? There's information overload. There's information everywhere. Yes, there's information everywhere. You see it every day. You see it every time. Don't pick your phone. Even where you are, you definitely get information. So being in several places only in the name of getting knowledge is something we need to be careful of. Yes, we want to be intentional on this, journey of parenting. It is not a must. A lot of us, yes, I know that it is something that is, that comes to us. We want to be in that place whereby we keep getting without giving. It's not something that works that way. There's a time you need to give to continue to get. And if you're not doing that, if you're always in this parenting conference is free, you're there, this is free, you're there, you are going to get information. There's going to be information overload. And at the end of the day, what happens? You're unable to implement any of those things because it's too much on you alone. You're unable to put it into practice. You're unable to implement it. So it will overwhelm you and leave you stressed. Confusion will set in for you. You won't know exactly what it is that is right for you to do or not to do with your children or even with yourself. You won't know. This is why you can't parent at this time without belonging to a particular system. You can't. Yes, you can. Not that you can't, but then if you want to actually get what you need, you have to be in a system. It's a working system. I like to tell people that, if you are building a mansion, you can't compare yourself to someone who is building a shanty. Both of you are building houses. Both of us that are intentional and those that are not intentional, we are definitely raising children. But you can't compare the results. You can't. The person who is building a mansion will have a house. The person who is building a shanty will also have a house. But they are not comparable. So if you actually want to be in that space whereby you know what exactly you are doing, you have a working system, you need to belong to a particular community that is ready to hold your hands with it. Truth. So you don't be in that place whereby you're continually getting information, it's overloading you, and you're stressed about it. So you will become confused because of information overload. You will hear many people saying different things at the same time. So the thing is, how exactly now do you now want to sieve that shaft from the good things? So when I see some things on social media, some things that people share with me and all of those things, I just shake my head and like, well, let's see. So information overload is making you to have, it is not making you to have a focus. You don't have one thing that you're focusing on. And that's why you're always in that place where you're nagging your child. And what actually needs to be done is for you to actually pay attention to, to one behavior at a time. But then the problem is, because we get this here, we want to put everything, we want to put it at work, we want everything, we want to use everything, which is not something that is possible. So it's not making us to have a focus. It will only overwhelm you. It only constantly puts you in that place of stress. So you need to know that information is everywhere, but information is not wisdom. Information is everywhere, but information is not wisdom. And what you need is not information. You see, what we don't know is that the information that we have access to, our children also have access to that information. Let's say our older children, as they grow, they have that they have that opportunity to that information. But then what they need from us is wisdom. Wisdom. That's what our children need. And the more our children grow, the more we need to be in that space whereby we are getting continuous wisdom. Because as they grow, new challenges will set in, new things will come in. The question is, how do you get that knowledge to actually guide them? And you don't need to wait to be in that space before you start, learning. You don't need to start facing challenges before you start learning the things that you need to do. That's one thing we need to know. So in as much as we want to parent with lots of information, there's a need to streamline what we listen to. This is something that is very important. We need to streamline whatever it is that we're listening to. Because, of course, there's lots of confusion these days. Information can actually damage one just as much as it can make one. Just as much as it can make you better, it can also damage you. If you do not streamline your information, where exactly am I getting this information from? Which one is actually the truth? Which one is it that it's not as if, a lot of the time, because of people's inadequacy, they don't want to listen to the truth. Maybe because they have not gotten there, because they have not gotten that result that they feel that they should get. Instead of them to accept the fact that, yes, I'm not here yet, but then I'm striving to be there. We want to be in that space where we'll say, no, all of those things that they are talking about is not true. What is there? We put ourselves in that place whereby we don't want to listen to the truth. And because of that, we constantly want to be in many places, and that stresses us. That's one of the modern day parenting that we have. There's so much information everywhere. So one of the things that we'll definitely be focusing on in the community is getting the right kind of knowledge and turning it into implementable systems. Yes, there's knowledge everywhere. As a matter of fact, there are so many things that you've heard, and each time you hear it, you'll be like, I know this thing. But then you want to ask yourself again, have I been able to implement this thing? If that implementation is where the problem is, and that's what LFP is going to give you. So if you're still thinking about, should I join? Should I not join? This is me telling you freely that it's a space that you need to be. It is a space that you need to be. So don't lose it, right? So like I was saying, getting the right kind of knowledge and turning it into implementable systems that become wisdom that helps you to eliminate parental stress. Because wisdom actually elevates you. It takes you from that place of, I'm not just everywhere, because it is when you're everywhere. It is when you're not sure. It is when you feel that everything that your child needs is just on you, and you need to keep giving without even remaining some things from yourself. You will definitely be stressed. You will definitely burn out. This is something that is going to happen. So your children have enough information, like I said, because it is everywhere. What they need from you is wisdom. So do you have enough of it to deliver to your children as they grow? I was looking at my first child, and I was like, really? Me? Really? My child is now 8, my first child. And I was looking at it like, really? Like how time flies. That's exactly what happens. Yes, LFP is where you should be. So this is something that you are ready to hold your hands through it, not from the place of perfection, but from the place of getting knowledge, implementing it, and building systems that actually work for our individual families, right? So much scattered parenting information actually makes your journey difficult. I'll say that again. Too much scattered parenting information actually makes your journey difficult. This is something that you need to know. Someone was sharing with me, for those who took the sex education course, and the person was sharing how her daughter, came home and was telling her about her crush and all of those things. And she said, if I hadn't taken that course, I would have reacted. I wouldn't even know what to do, except that I would just react. I would just be in that space whereby I keep shouting, hey, you two, have somebody, you better face your study. And that's going to be all. Not even helping that child through that process. That's what information, that's what knowledge does to you. That is what wisdom does to you. It puts you in that place where you can imagine if she hadn't taken that course, of course, and she jumps up, jump down, do this, do that. What happens? That child would find it difficult to share anything relating to that to her. That child is now going to start keeping it secret. So we need to know that a lot of the things, a lot of the troubles, a lot of the problems that we face when it comes to raising children. And that's why we always say that parenting is about you. It's not about your child, it's about you. A lot of those things is because we don't know what to do. We don't have the tools. We don't have the skills. We don't know what to do. And the moment all of those things starts coming like that, we worry. We brood about it. We become stressed about it. That's just it. But the moment you know what to do, the moment you are armed with what to do, even if you don't know what to do, if you are in that safe space whereby you can easily say, this happened, what exactly have you learned about it? What it is that I need to do, you will definitely get it. And that's why it's important for us to have a community at this stage, at this time, and this era. Right? So how do you begin to deal with these things? You know, I said it before, there's information everywhere. There are so many parenting hubs, parenting coaches, this, that. What do you need to start to do? You need to seek Allah's guidance, of course. Seek the guidance of your Rabb and have the right intention. The help of Allah will come to you, but then it will come through people. So if you are listening to this today, maybe this is just that help that you've been brooding about, you've been worrying about. My child is not doing this, my child is just doing that, he's not doing this. And we can have lots of complaints like that. But then we should know that Allah's help will come, but then it will definitely come through people. And that's why Allah said in Surah Al-Anfal, verse 62, that Allah is sufficient for you. It is He who supported you with His help and with the believer's help. This is something that we need to ponder on and we need to reflect on. So this is us opening that hand to say that, okay, yes, let us build that safe space for us where we can easily get the things that we actually need to actually raise wholesome children, to actually raise those children who would definitely be that sadaqatul jariyah for us, right? Another thing you need to do is that you must be a discerning parent. You must be someone who is able to discern. You must be able to perceive, you must be able to recognize, you must be able to comprehend, not just with your visible sense organ, but with your mind also. You need to filter the information that you receive and focus on trusted sources that aligns with the truth and also with your values. This is something that is very important. So you are not just in that place where you are running here, you are running there. It was one of those things that I said last year. It's not about tips and acts, no. It's not about tips and acts. It is not about it. So a lot of the time, there are certain things that we would see and we will try to implement it. But then, because we don't understand the fundamental of that challenges that we're going through, we say we use it, it doesn't work. It's not even working because we don't understand the fundamental. So your child, for example, now, you've seen something to make your child, learn faster and this thing. Then you feel that you want to implement all of those things without even considering how your child learns, without even considering the temperament of your child. This is something that is going to be difficult. And that's why we need to understand the fundamentals. So you need to be in that place where you focus on understanding yourself, understanding your child, and understanding your process. It is a process that needs to be followed. But then before you can be in that place, you need to understand yourself, you need to understand your child, and you need to understand that it's a process. It's not just about the results that you are going to get. That's where you will not be in that space whereby you are constantly stressed. The third pressure is the pressure of social comparison, right? Comparison with friends' children, comparison with neighbors' children, with random children that we see online. Social comparison. And what that does is that it leads us to unnecessary anxiety and stress eventually. We're just anxious because we don't know what to expect. We don't know, we keep being in that place where, yes, only Allah knows whatever it is. But then, like I will keep saying, if we put ourselves in that place whereby we keep working to get it, we'll definitely be in that place whereby it might be blurry at times, but then we'll definitely get there. So with social comparison would bring that anxiousness. You'll be anxious. Hey, what is it? Hey, my child is not doing this. Am I getting it wrong? Am I failing? Am I doing this? But then an intentional parent follows a goal and a plan. An unintentional parent follows the crowd. And that's where you will constantly be in that place whereby you see a child, maybe that is younger than your child, that is doing certain things, and you're constantly thinking, hey, my child cannot do this. We'll not take that thing back home and start speaking to our children with it. You know, this person I saw, she's 3 years, she's 4 years, she's this, she's doing that. The question is, do you even understand the process that parents is taking their children to? So you can't constantly be in that place whereby you're comparing with your children with other children. You don't know what their journey looks like. You want to focus on your own journey. Get to know that, okay, yes, we're progressing. This last week, my child wasn't doing this. Yes, my child is doing this. And these are all of the things that we're going to track in the inner circle. There's going to be a daily journaling. There's, that journal is already there. It's prepared. It's going to be sent as soon as, we get into that space. As soon as you get into that space, you journal daily. This is something that is important on our journey. You will journal daily. You will be able to know that, okay, yes, this child has moved from point A to point B. And you are not just in that place where you are worried, you are this, even if there's something you want them to get, you know that we'll get to that space whereby we'll be able to teach it, we'll be able to reinforce it, and we will see whatever it is that we want. This is something that is important. So how do you manage it? Focus on what truly matters to you as a family and your goals. Celebrate your strengths and milestones. Celebrate your children's milestones. Don't just see it. A lot of the time, this is something that, of course, it's a product of our upbringing. We're always focusing on the things that they are not doing. We do not talk about the things that they are doing and they are doing right. So we want to start shifting it. We want to start talking about the things, the strength of our children, rather than pay attention to their weaknesses, right? So you want to be in that space whereby you celebrate your strengths and milestones, not what others are doing. Parent from the place of knowledge and not the place of ignorance and fear. A lot of us parent from the place of fear. I've spoken about this many times before. That's why if anything happens, we want to jump up and say, hey, because we are scared. We are so scared. So think about it. You will see lots of things online. You will see lots, especially now that there is even AI. We don't even know the difference between AI and normal videos again. Who is in that shoes with me? There are some videos I need to start showing my colleagues. I think this is AI. Do you think this is AI? They will tell you this is, yes, it's AI. There are so many things we would see online. But then our ability to focus on our own goal, on our own plan is something that is important. Not by following the crowd. So in the glamorous things that we see out there, there was a process involved before the result was gotten. That glamorous thing. A child is reciting the Quran perfectly. A child is doing this. A child is doing that. But then, a 5-year-old, or let's say a 2-year-old is reading 1 to 1,000, 1 to this, 1 to that. It is when you are in the place of knowledge that you'll be able to know that that is not what matters in the life of that child. But if you are not in the place of knowledge, you keep worrying. Hey, you cannot even write 2. This one can write 1 to 200. This one can do this. This one can do that. If you are constantly in the place of knowledge, it is ignorance that will make you feel that some things are important, whereas they are less important. They are not even important at that stage of that child's life. It is knowledge that will help you to discern, okay, yes, this is what is needed, and this is not what is needed. It is knowledge that will take you away from that place where you are aggressive towards your children because they are not doing their homework well, or they are not even doing it at all. It is knowledge that will take you from there to, okay, yes, what can we begin to do better? What are the things? It's a problem. How do we solve it? How do we solve it? So we're not in that place of being aggressive. We're in that place of, yes, we are learning. We're learning to do better. Right? So it's not in the tips and hacks, like I said, that is being shared on social media, because of course we'll keep sharing tips and hacks. We'll keep sharing it because that's what that's what people want. People want to read and say, okay, yes, I've learned this, but then how do we implement? So it's not about the tips and the hacks that we share on social media. It's in following a due process. This is something that I learned, alhamdulillah, early enough, and I was able to, be in that space. And I can tell you for a fact that parenting without being in a community and parenting with being in a community is not just a community, a working community, a structured community. It's not something we can compare. So, and this is why a lot of the time you just, there are some messages that I get. I think I got one, last weekend. The person said, I've been listening to you for a very long time. This, that. My child is going through this. It is not about sharing tips. It's about the process. Because if you go on and do something that, that is being said and you're not getting the result, you easily come to that place whereby you say something like, all of these things are not working. It's just this, it's just that. So it's in the process. It's not about the tips and the hacks that we get here and there. So we won't be able to connect the dots if we are not following the process. So this is something we need to think about. The fourth one that we're going to be talking about is the pressure of technology. The pressure of technology. So what does that look like? It looks like constantly having to monitor your children, managing your child's use of smartphone, looking into their social media, managing video games, managing, internet, everything generally, right? So we need to deal with screen addiction. We need to deal with inappropriate content because it's everywhere. We know exposure to screen in the name of learning. Is our child actually learning, or our child is not learning from the screen? And that's why, if you've had contact with me, maybe you've taken one or two courses, one of those things that I give out is the family media guide and the family value guide, because this is something that is very important. You need to be able to have that value plan for your children. That media plan, not just for your children, for you also. Because, like we always say, children will always imitate us. They are looking at us. Right? This is something that is very important. Not just for our children, like I said, but for us as parents. We need to control the media and not the other way around. Let's not be in that space whereby the media is the one controlling us. There needs to be a direction. We need to understand the digital world and set necessary boundaries. And the truth about it is that it's getting worse every day. And the excuses parents give is something like they want their children to be tech savvy and all of those things. But the question is, we are not equipping them with the things that they need to be tech savvy. We're actually giving them the things that they need to be, social media savvy. And that's why you see lots of children, you see a lot of people, on TikTok, on Instagram, on all of those things, doing those things. And you see these people, they can't even create a design, just one small thing. They can't even write a content. They can't make a presentation. You see children that are 14, 15, they can't do all of these things, but they are there. There are very many there on social media. So the question you want to start asking yourself is, are you actually raising your children to be tech savvy, or you are raising them to be social media savvy? You want to ask yourself. We need to leave it with, we need to be in that space whereby there is boundary. The thing that we provide our children comes back to haunt us. The things that we give to our children actually comes back to haunt us. Because if you are giving a 12, 13, or even 14-year-old a phone, and you want to be in that space whereby, they are old enough, you want to be able to communicate with them, you want to do this, you want to do that, without putting the necessary things in place, that thing will come back to haunt you. Because once that child has access to phone, the next thing they want to do is that they want to open a Facebook account, or maybe an Instagram account, a Snapchat, TikTok, and all of those things, and they will do what others are doing. They will learn all of the challenges and they will replicate it. So, and if we now get to know that our child they are involved in certain things, what happens? We start brooding, we start thinking, so it is actually us putting ourselves inside that stress, inside that parenting pressure that actually causes us stress. We give them things that they do not need, things that they don't even have any business with. And that's why, a lot of the time, children that we're raising these days, they don't even have any social, they don't have that social interaction. They can't have it. My husband was, talking to me about a particular boy who, the only thing he does is when he passes by you, he just, like, they can't even talk. They can't communicate with people because they are not learning how to do it. The opportunity they should have to do it is being taken away by the smartphones that they have. So that's why it is important for us. I was saying it, I was sharing on my status some days back that life presented itself in a way that we could easily learn skills while we were growing up. But then those things have been taken away by technology. And I was sharing about, if you go out to somewhere and you need to go back, you need to know, okay, yes, this is where I pass, this is where I pass, this is where I'm going to come back, this is where I'm... But then if you don't know it these days, just go on your Google map, go and click on how you will get home. You will definitely get home. There are different things like that. Different things that before you even be in that space whereby you are doing certain things, you think about it. You can imagine during those days, if you want to watch porn, how? Before you think about going to get the cassettes, before you talk about putting that cassette into the disc, what do we call it? Putting disc inside the tape, what do we call it? Right? Before we think about all of those things, you will be thinking about it. If NEPA should take the light and this disc is inside this video player, they mean to ban me. But now it's just clicks. It's just clicks. So if we're still in that space whereby we say things like, hey, during our own time, that's us not socially intelligent. That's not socially intelligent, because if we're socially intelligent, we will be in that space whereby we understand that things have changed and we can't do it like we did it before. We can't be in that space whereby we just continue to do it like we did it before. No, because we will not get the results that we want to get. We will not get that desired result. So we give children phone, they have no business with in the first place. And then when you find out what they do with it, you start complaining, you start nagging, it stresses you out. This parenting thing, it's not easy. We constantly be in that place whereby we complain. This is something that we complain a lot. But then we're not even trying to find solutions to the things that we complain about. We're not ready to learn about the things that we complain about. So you need to know that the first things that you need to intentionally give your children in this day and age are skills, not a gadget, not a smartphone, not a tab. They are skills. Because if you don't intentionally teach it, like I said, we learned it from different things that we did back then that is no longer available to our own children right now. So they need to be intentionally taught. So I need not to say that this is already a part of the curriculum of the things that we're going to be talking about in the inner circle. So the community is there to actually help you on your journey, to help you put the right things in place, the necessary things in place, because there are some things that we feel that is necessary, but they are not actually necessary. The last one that we're going to be talking about today is changing parenting norms and navigating it. Because of the fact that things are changing, just like we said from the beginning, we find it difficult to keep up with those things that are changing, even if we know about it. Then when we eventually know about it, look, this child is doing this, it turns out to be that, hey, I've not done well. Yes, I failed. I've done this. We find ourselves in that place whereby we're stressed, right? Skills being learned, it is something that is very, very important. Like I said, you can't just raise your child and you just wake up, do this, child, clean the house, do this, do that. We're not teaching them enough skills. Executive functioning skill is a skill that we even lack as adults. Yes, we find it difficult to start a task and complete it. We find it difficult to even initiate a task. We have an idea, we don't even know how to go about it. We have things to do, we don't even know. There are times that you feel that, okay, yes, I need to reset. Okay, then I need to keep going. But this is a lot of the time as a result of some skills that we do not have. So that changing norm when it comes to parenting is something we need to be aware of, so that we'll be able to equip our children with the things that they actually need before they get to that stage whereby, okay, you don't want to, and that's why I said the other time that first things that you need to give to your children are actually skills, not just gadgets. So if you compare your own time to the time of your own children, you are not socially intelligent, you are not culturally intelligent, you are culturally unintelligent. So getting the right knowledge settles you. It puts you in that place whereby you are settled. Even if everyone is chatting, yeah, you are settled because you have the right knowledge. You are navigating it. You are not just navigating, this journey. You are navigating it with the right knowledge. It gives you perspective that is needed to parent your own children without any form of pressure. Right? It helps you to put the things right, the right things in place at the right time. So as parents, we need to know that we need to be teachable, we need to be learnable, and we need to be flexible. You need to stay teachable, you need to stay learnable, and you need to be flexible. You can't be rigid. You can't be static. You can't say, yes, it was, that common slang, it was done to us and we did not die. It was done. We did not die, but it left so many effects on us today. So we don't want to be in that space again. So you need to stay teachable, you need to stay learnable, and you need to be flexible about what your child needs per time. You need to constantly get that information, that knowledge of what your child constantly needs per time. You need to be in that space whereby you learn before challenges come. This is something that is very, very important. And these are the things that will not actually expose us to stress. You know, a lot of the time when I get reviews from Friday live sessions like this, of course, I get lots, and they'll tell you, oh, now, this, just knowing about the things that we talk about here has actually helped. It has, it has helped me. It has made me parent better. It has done this. It has done that. Yes. So you can now imagine being in a system whereby you have something to do every day. Yes, every day. And it's not just doing something, because we do not know how powerful that, compound effect. We don't know how powerful it is. So we feel that just one thing that we do to our child is going to get us. No, it's not just one thing. It's not a yearly thing. It's supposed to be a daily thing. And it is not that compound effect that it actually compounds to get that results that we want at the end. And that's why we're saying that it's in the process. It's not just the result. It's in the process. So if we put all of the, a lot of the things that we stress about, we talk about, and all of those things, it's just because we're not in that place where and that's why there's that quote that if you know better, you do what? Who help us to complete it in the comment section? You will do better as a parent. You will do better as a parent. This is something that is very, very important, and we want to start thinking about. You don't want to be in that place whereby you are comparing your child, even if they are siblings. You are not saying something like, a lot of the time we feel that, I'm just saying the good part. Look at you to be like your brother now. Whenever it is that he comes, he does it. No, it is the comparison is comparison. Talk to them based on them. Don't talk to them based on their own siblings. Don't compare them, because that is where, rivalry will come in. Rivalry will come in. Rivalry that you might not even know where it is that it's going to take your children. You don't know whatever it is that is going to happen between them if you continue that way. Pressure of technology. Your children do not, a lot of the children that have smartphones these days, they do not have any business with smartphones. Yes, they do not have any business at all with smartphones. But because we want to feel along, child A, the parent of Yalagbaja, that was what he used in celebrating the 13 years birthday of the child. This is what they did. This is what they did. We constantly be in that place. We even go as far as getting the things that we can afford, because we think that the success of our children is all that we need. Once my child is successful, then I've gotten everything. Once my child is this, we neglect ourselves, forgetting the fact that we are also people's children. We are also children. Just like they have their own destiny, we also have our own quota. So we need to start thinking about all of these things. When we learn the things that are necessary for us, we see that whatever it is that we're going through that is stressing us, that is making us worry, we will definitely have answers to those questions. We will be in that place whereby we have the things that we need to do. And this is something that is very, very important. Right. So, and yes, we have come to the end of today's session. I hope that you learned one or two things. If you did, please share with me in the comment section. What are you taking away from today's session? What is it that you are going to be doing better? And what is it that you are going to be eliminating on your journey? Share with us. While you share with us, yes, registration is still open for LLP community. Please note that by the end of October, if you have not secured your slot, if you have not registered, the price moves from 50,000 naira to 65,000 naira, and it's still very fine. If you pay 65,000 naira for a year program, it is still 100% fine. Right, I tell you, but then you want to take advantage of the 50,000 naira slots before it comes to an end. By the end of this month, inshallah, it's coming to an end and it's going back to its original price of 65,000 naira. So if you really want to be a part of this community, this is the cue for you to register today. Don't defy it again, right? Register and be committed to it. For those of you that have registered, please put in mind that you need to pay up before the 1st of January. Inshallah, may Allah spare our lives and may Allah keep us safe. I would like to share this again. I think I've seen about 4 to 5 videos only this week of children that are missing. Both those that are missing and those who were found by some people, and they keep putting on social media, who wants this child, whose child is this, and all of that. You see, this is why it is important for us to teach our children safety rules. I saw the video of a particular girl, a 4-year-old, who was missing, and they were asking for that child's phone number, the parent's phone number. That child couldn't say it. They were asking for the address. That child couldn't say it. You don't want want to take safety skills, you don't, yes, while it is important for us to say our cars, it is important to also equip our children with safety skills, even if, so that when they meet themselves in a particular situation, they have information to give. It's not everything that is because a lot of the time our children are not skilled. Some children don't know, they don't even know the names of their children, of their parents. They say something like, the name of my mommy is Mommy Musin. The name of my daddy is Daddy Musin. They don't know their address. They can't even say their address. They can't see the phone numbers of their children. This is something that is important that we really need to pay attention to as parents. We need to do better as parents. Equip your children with safety skills. Let them know. If you go missing, if there's something wrong, if there's someone who is willing to help you, give them the knowledge of cues. What are the things that you can do? What are the things you can see in someone that can help you to say that, okay, I think this person wants to genuinely help me? What are the things you will see that you will be able to say that I'm not sure, I'm not safe with this person? Teach them to follow their instincts. This is something that is very, very important. The rate at which people are going missing these days is so, it's so sad. It is so, so sad. I'm not saying that it's because they are not careful, but then we need to also upskill our children so that we help them with the things that they need to do when cases like this happen. It can happen to anyone, because those that it happens to, they are also children, they are human beings. So we need to be careful about this. Thank you so much for coming to my TED Talk again. TED Talk again this evening, this Friday evening. I really do appreciate. I do not take it for granted. Like I always say, please, we beg you, please try as much as possible to share this information to several other parents so that they can also come and learn from, from this session. It is something that should go around all parents. It is something that is very important. It is needed in our time, and it has come to stay, be it in Allah. I pray that Allah, guides me, whatever it is that wherever it is that I have made any mistakes today, I pray that Allah forgives me. And wherever it is that you've heard me wrongly, I pray that Allah touches that and actually make you get the benefit, of listening to me. Thank you so much for joining me. See you again next week, Friday, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.